sugarless, hooker waitress, model actress, oh just go nameless, honeysuckle, full of poison, she obliterated everything she kissed, now she's fading, somewhere in Hollywood, glad I came here when your pound of flesh.
Welcome to Model Actress Whatever, Episode 8, the Zeno Mountain Farm Edition. We are here in New York City. They're about to premiere their movie today. This is Sunday, June 2nd, Manhattan. They are doing another bulletproof premiere. It's kind of how they fundraise, it's how they show awareness. And people, get to see what we do when we are at camp, the end product of all our hard work. And I mean, I'm saying I actually have only been a camp counselor this last season at film camp, and I'm going to do a week or two in Vermont. But there are people who are committed year round to making these camps happen all over the country and other countries. It's great because it gives a reprieve to the families of the people who have disabilities. And I mean, it is a miracle that people are born with every finger in tow. And it just makes you so grateful. And it's really brought a grounding quality to my life. And I'm so happy to be involved and that I'm a part of this community now. And it definitely just, I really want to keep it a priority now that I have found it. Because, like being model actress, whatever, it is about just you, yourself, and being that product. And so it's great to be in a place and with people where nothing matters except for, just being happy and coming together and working on projects and learning so much from each other. So today, Katie White, model actress, whatever. Oh, should I talk about gigs? Okay. Well, ever since my crazy beating, no, just kidding. No, I just slammed into a window, that's all. But April 16th, 2013, I volunteered for 2 weeks at Zeno, and then I see the thing is I'm talking too much about personal stuff, so like Zeno can't even use this interview for anything. But this is my podcast. I can do whatever I want, right? Anyways, who likes Julie Klausner? I love Julie Klausner's podcast called How Was Your Week? Check it out. She's so funny. She's constantly talking about her cat, Jimmy Jazz. Talking about cats, my friend Sam Spiegel just adopted a kitten, black kitten, named Wu-Tang, adopted from the streets of Venice Beach. He didn't, he slept with it, and then it had all these fleas. And then I was like, dude, you gotta get it flea dipped. And so we took it to PetSmart, got it flea dipped. Healthy little kitten named Wu-Tang. Big up to Wu-Tang, Sam Spiegel. Also, I have a bunch of gigs coming up. I am playing June 7th in Haven Nightclub at the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. Woohoo! I also will be playing Bloomingdale's in an in-store corporate thing, and then I'm going to be playing a private corporate thing for Mazda because I am a DJ. That is one of the many things I do. I also am a human being who likes to do lots of things. I got to uh, shoot a Coppola movie. Hey, the Coppolas just pass me around like I'm a dirty dog. They just think I'm the sexiest girl in the world. Just kidding. Um, Gia Coppola has a movie coming out with James Franco. She adapted his book. I'm gonna have a glass of water. I'm hungover too. That's probably why I sound so loopy. Um, Gia Coppola, James Franco, young actors. It's going to be called Palo Alto. I was an insert scene. All principal photography had already been shot. And I kind of just did that whole scene from Fast Times at Ridgemont High in the red bikini, which was super fun. And I kept diving into this pool, and they were like, "Can you just like dive in the pool and keep your legs straight? Can you keep your legs straight?" And I was like, I couldn't do it. I was like, I haven't dived in a pool in a long time. Um, uh, so that was fun. I shot a Canon commercial. So I just held a camera. That was fun. It was crazy. It was like everything that I auditioned for while I was at camp, I got. Like my audition ratio, like just happened. It was crazy town. Basically, I even got booked on a Mazda commercial, but I was shooting the Canon commercial. So I booked two commercials, a movie, and an ad campaign for Lucky Strike, which is hilarious because I don't really smoke, although I've been kind of smoking little cigarettes. Mom, Dad, don't listen. I also did two gigs in Las Vegas, one of which was hilarious because, okay, don't judge me, but it was a club attached to a strip club. So it's like it's like okay, it's called Sapphire. I'm like giving them free advertising, but it was fun. Um, and it's like a $2 million pool, and the deal is like everyone has their swimsuits on, but then like the strippers have like a pink wristband, so it's like the dudes come and they can hang out at the pool and like eat and drink and whatever. And then there's like regular girls there and then strippers, and then they're like all partying together. And but then with the strippers, you can just like take them inside and get a lap dance, which is hilarious. And then strippers, they're encouraged to hang out by the pool because then they don't have to pay like a stripper fee or something. So now I know way too much about strippers. Big up to all the strippers out there, model, actress, whatever is high. And then it was the Billboard Music Awards the next day, and Afrojack was playing at Access, and I got to hang out with Jesse Waits. Hey, Jesse, what's up? At Access, and hung out with Britney Spears' manager and Williams' managers and all those guys because I know them through DJ Poet, who I released my last single, Keeper, which you can still buy on iTunes and check out the video on YouTube. That shit was nuts. I lost my cell phone in the car coming back. I couldn't remember if it was a taxi or we had a private car. So the next morning I woke up, it was like the hangover. I got on my computer and I had iPhone Finder. Got in my car, went to like the iPhone was on and it said it was on and it was like bleeping where it was. And I thought I was at a taxi company because it had the graphic of the map. And so I like checked through 75 cabs in Las Vegas. And then the cab company, they were like, well, why don't you turn it to the satellite maps to see exactly where it is? So I had to drive to a Starbucks, come back, and it was like in the building next to the taxi company. I'm like, what is going on? Who has my phone? Then I go to the next building, and it's like a private car company. And they're like, oh, were you with the Billboard Music Awards? I was like, oh, yeah, I was. And they're like, oh, so you had a car. I was like, I think so. And and then I'm like, they search through all the cars, and the phone is still showing that it's there. And then I start like grilling them kind of. I'm like, someone has my phone. It is here. Like, we need to find it. We need to find it. Then I kind of like go to the people who are like cleaning out the cars. I'm like, hey, like, I really need my phone. Like, and then I just start going, hey, I'm just going to give money to whoever gives me my phone. Whoever finds my phone gets money. And then so one of the dudes is like, oh, I think it's in the bathroom. And I'm like, and I like felt like they were giving me a chance. So I was like, okay. So I walk in the bathroom, I look around, I come out, magically my phone disappears. And so I gave the guy like $40 and was so happy. And I felt like a detective. So put that app on your phone and do not lose your phone when you're drunk because this app helps you. That's my iPhone Finder story. I hope this intro wasn't too aggressive for the Zeno Mountain Farm episode. Please check out xenomountainfarm.org. It's a miracle. I'm kind of not good at this. Anyways, I found the other interviews with George and Will Halby. So they will be included. Will Halby is the director of Zeno Mountain Farm, and George is a friend there, and so is Bobby Bird. Please enjoy this episode, Zeno Mountain Farm. Bye. Will Halby, to model, actress, whatever.
Thank you.
So what is your involvement with Zeno Mountain Farm?
Well, first of all, we should probably discuss where we're sitting right now.
We are sitting...
That's much more interesting than Zeno Mountain Farm. What do you think, C.C?
And Bobby Bird is guesting with us right now.
Great. Bob's here. We're in a bathroom. We're in the back room at camp. I'm sitting on the toilet.
And we're supposed to make this sound glamorous for all the people.
This is so glamorous. All right, you can edit that out if you want.
No, this is the realness of Model Actress Whatever podcast.
Okay.
So, tell us.
My name is Will Halby. I'm the director, founder, co-founder, co-director of Zeno Mountain Farm. We started camp about 10 years ago here in Venice, California, and we sort of expanded and grown and evolved, and now we have a big camp in Vermont, and we have a camp in Guatemala and a camp in Florida, and we have 3 camps out here in Los Angeles, and we're just busy, happy with all our friends.
So how did you become like guru of how does one start this camp?
Well, I worked at camps growing up as a kid. I went to camp as a kid growing up, and then I worked at camp, in my late teens, and a similar type of camp. It was a camp for people with disabilities, and I fell in love with the diversity. I fell in love with the sort of like, wow, this is a whole group of people that walk differently and talk differently and think differently and move differently, and I love the creative atmosphere and the anything goes type atmosphere and the freedom that was there, because it's kind of hard to be hung up on oneself when when you're surrounded by people who are working really, really hard just to get through the day and get their daily needs met, as well as people that are working really, really hard to help other people get their daily needs met. It's hard to worry about the little things that go on in my head on a daily basis, and then once those things are gone, sort of the freedom to dance and self-expression and sort of all those insecurities that I had as a young person, you drifted away. It was a real sense of freedom and sort of like community and freedom that I'd never experienced before, and I got addicted to it. And then as I got older and started to take myself more seriously, I became interested in nonprofit work and raising money, and found out that it's not that hard. Anybody can do it, and I encourage anybody that's listening to this to, if they have a passion, it doesn't even have to take up all your time. You can set up a nonprofit. You can run money through another nonprofit and raise money for something that you care about, and make a really, really big difference in this world. It's pretty easy, to be honest with you.
Why do you think it's so easy?
Well, it's not that it's like easy. It's just not that hard. I mean, it's when we started, all we did was I had my friend Lucy Dahl, who has this big house in Hancock Park, big beautiful house, and she was really interested in helping me start a camp, and I had all these friends at the other camp that I'd been working at, since I was a teenager, and she and I were hanging out one day, and we said, wouldn't it be fun to fly all our friends out here to California to make a movie? And And
Was
it
Bobby
like,
one of those?
Bobby was one of those people. This was 10 years ago, and we said, let's do it. And so we said, okay, fine, let's have a party at your house. Let's invite everybody we know, and let's say, we made this kind of silly rule just so that we didn't sound snobby. We made a rule that you weren't allowed to give more than $500. You could come to the party, but you were not allowed to give more than $500 because we wanted it to seem grassroots and earthy and just sort of, of the people. So we had like 100 people there, and we had our friends out there, and we raised $17,000 in money, which was amazing. We didn't ever expect it to raise that much, but everybody gave what they could, and it was plenty to fly our friends out here. I talked to a lawyer, and we figured out how to get insurance, and everybody stayed in our house in bunk beds, and we made our first movie. And we just kind of went for it, and we did it, and that was really our first venture into it, and then as we grew, it just became more and more involved, and it's become more complicated. But I guess when I say it's easy, it's easy just to figure out a way to get your friends together to raise money and to make a difference, whatever it is. If you're interested in, cleaning up the beaches, or helping people with disabilities, or people who are on drugs, or people who are homeless, or whatever it is that you look around and you're like, wow, this is something that affects me, in my heart. It's really easy just especially now with the internet and social networking, just to be like, hey everybody, I'm going to raise $10,000 in the next month, and I'm going to give it all to this organization that I really care about. And you could do that if you just go around and ask everybody for $10. You can do it in a minute. It's so easy, and I think people really love to be a part of things that are make them feel bigger than themselves and a part of the world. And I think if I have a message beyond what we just do here at camp, it'd be like to encourage people, especially our generation, just to get out there and just do stuff. Mix it up. We spend more money on clothes and
coffee.
Crap. I think we should. I love my coffee and all the stuff I get, but I also love giving money away, and I think it's just fun. It's just fun to learn about the cool things that are people doing out there, and just jump on board and be a part of it.
What inspired you? Was it just going to camp and just having this experience over and over and over again that just made you so into the atmosphere of giving and nonprofits, and you didn't see yourself doing anything else?
Oh, I have lots of ideas of things that I'd like to do, but this one, it just was really nice to not think about myself, and I found that when I'm helping, not even like help. It's not like an angel wings thing. It's just sort of like when I'm doing work that involves helping other people, or just simply being a part of a group of people where we're doing something collectively that's bigger than myself. It's like, so right now there's 35 of us. We're all living together for 2 weeks, and we're making a movie. And for these 2 weeks, this movie and you and Bob and everybody here, it's just more important than me. It's more important than the normal things that go through my head. The vanity and just the everything that we have in our brains, and I'm always thinking about Bob and you and the movie and the things that we're doing, and you guys are so important to me that suddenly I'm free. I'm not thinking about myself, and there's this freedom from the burden of self is a gift. It's a gift that
I'm feeling it.
It's groovy, right?
It's like people gotta shower.
Yeah.
People gotta shower, and you're responsible for it, and you need to get their food, and just it's like a lot of just 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. It brings up sort of an honesty that like, I mean, we've had some honest conversations where it's just like, CC, look, you know, like you gotta be at production meeting on time, you know, and there's no love lost. I love you, and it's not and I'm not busting anybody's balls because I you know.
I know he didn't bust my balls.
I did not. Yeah.
It was all love. It was
all love.
I know you're late sometimes too. I mean,
Actually, Bob's rarely late. Right. And I mean, and the idea is like you know, because you know Bob and the movie and the community is more important than oh man, I hope I don't hurt somebody's feelings, or you know, it's just like we have a higher priority, so we get to communicate freely without our egos being attached to certain things, and it's just a wonderful sense of freedom that I don't, you know, don't get to experience outside of camp.
But also, like, when you're making a movie in real life, that's how it is. Everyone's focus is making a movie.
Right.
So that added element, as well as taking care of our homies that, you know, some who can't feed themselves, and making a movie.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal. It's
Yeah, it's you know, it's sort of an added layer of. It's like making movies and then 24/7 caregiving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk a lot about sort of the secret sauce that makes you know, camp, you know, and you know, those ingredients are that, you know, no one can pay or get paid. So we're all here equal footing, where there's no sort of staff and client. You know, it's me and you, and it's Bob, and it's Emmy, and it's our whole crew, and we're all here together, and so there's no sort of social hierarchy involved. And we live together, which is a really important piece of it. And at every camp, there's a focus, there's a goal. It's like that teamwork element of like, we all are working together to create something bigger than ourselves. And you know, we've just sort of found over the years that if you mix all that together, you know, this freedom and this sort of, you know, we refer to it as the bubble sometimes.
It is very bubblicious here.
Totally, yeah.
What is your life like when camp is not happening?
It's the camp's always happening for me, like which is by design. I you know, we have 3 kids, so that's a pretty big deal.
He's married to a really hot model.
I am. So yeah, I'm not, you know. Yes, I know that's like she's super hot. I think she's the hottest.
She's the hottest.
She's the hottest.
Hottest, coolest model I've ever met.
Hands down. So I'm.
And they have like hot kids.
The kids are cool, but mostly because of my wife. No, she's way out of my league. I'm a lucky man. And she's a remarkable. We could have a whole podcast about how much I love my wife. But yeah, you know, camp's always.
How did you guys meet?
We met out here in Los Angeles through friends, and we grew up 20 minutes from each other in Massachusetts. So I was very attracted to, you know, not only her, you know, looks, but her sort of East Coast swagger. She's very East Coast with, like, you know, just she wears her emotions on her sleeve. She tells it like it is. Sort of no bullshit. She keeps me honest in all the best ways. So we met out here, and we had we lived together after 8 months, and started having kids after about 3 years, and then got married. You know, we didn't do it in order, but we.
And I drink out of your coffee cup all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. If anybody out there wants a Vanessa, we ordered about 350 too many coffee cups for our wedding, so we'll pass them out.
Right here. Here.
Does Bob have one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bob was, of course, Bob was one of my groomsmen in our wedding.
Yeah.
I had 7 groomsmen.
Yeah.
Alec and Bob were 2 of them, and Pete and a couple other people.
5.
No, there were 7.
8. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Bob's been one of my best friends since I was 17, so that's about 25 years
Yeah.
now.
And
I'm so in love with him. I can't
I
handle it.
saw him. Here. I
So tell me about Will when he was 17.
Oh. I saw him.
Yeah, we got married, but remember we were in the cabin together with who else? There's nobody here that was there, but like Paul and Skipper. Yeah. And Paul and Johnny and yeah, and Kenny.
Yeah.
You know, Kenny and it was in all these wonderful guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up
So
together.
what's the future of Zeno Mountain Farms looking like?
It's you know we want it just to keep going and going and going. We talk a lot about you know, having one of our big things at camp is that we have a tradition where everybody that comes is invited back year after year after year after year. So it is lifelong friendships. You know, Bob and I have been friends, like we've been saying, for 25 years, and most of the gang has been coming for years. You know, this year we have a couple of new people, including you, C.C. But once you're in, you're always in. You know, and whether or not you can come to camp, you're always part of the family. And so we always, it's sort of like this sort of long-term 100-year goal of we'll all be gone, but there will be people there that knew people that knew us, and you know, we're linked by overlapping friendships. So like I could, you know, I could do camping over 10 years with you, and then I could get hit by a bus, but you'll be there and you will have known me. And then 20 years later, you know, someone that you knew for 10 years at camp will be continuing, and this sort of lineage, this sense of sort of, you know, maybe it's more than lifelong, maybe it's generationally overlapping friendships, you know, so that 100 years from now, you know, the stories and the history is still there. I mean, Bob is a legend at camp, and long after he's gone, people will know who he is. And that's really important to us, and not just the people, but also the traditions and what camp means to us, and you know, how we operate and how we communicate and how we treat each other is something that we want to, you know, keep forever. So, you know, philosophically, that's the way we think, and then also pragmatically, like within the business, we talk a lot about like how are we going to do this? You know, how are we going to raise the money and make sure that, you know, the people that support us, you know, get really, really connected to us and really, you know, really know what we're about and what we're doing, so that every year when we ask them for, you know, whatever, $50 or whatever it is that they're able to give, that they just like, yeah, every year I want Zeno to last forever. So, you know, it just keeps coming, and we can grow and maintain into perpetuity. It's a really important thing. I mean, this is something we want to last forever. You know, there's very few things in the world that I know of personally that you know, you just stay with forever. Where you see your friend. I mean, college comes and goes, and you know, school comes and goes, and people move around so much, and
That's the crazy thing about a lot of the people at camp, that they're from so many different places, and also there's kind of like, they're free-spirited people who, this is just a part of the many things that they do, like, you know, they're traveling constantly, but they come and travel back to this, and
yeah, we I mean, we just, it's about friendship and building building a sort of a vehicle that friendships can last forever. You know, even I mean, there's a lot of times people who haven't been back to camp, you know, because they get married or they get a job or they go travel or whatever. They haven't been to camp in 5 years, but when they come back, it's like
They never left.
it's like they come right back in, and there's some new people to meet, but they're sort of been indoctrinated into camp life, and a lot of their old friends are there, and all the stories are still there, and sort of the feeling of it endures, and that's just really important. I mean, we do that. I mean, we're intentional about how we want, you know, how we want people to always be a part of it, and you know, we're family.
Community.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
What do you like in just like a general sense of the world of like disability and awareness from like when you were 17 to now? Have you seen changes?
That's an interesting question. No, I don't really, you know, spend a lot of time thinking about the politics of it all. It's like these guys they're my friends, and I want the best for them in the world and in camp, and
you can only control this situation.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, you know, I don't treat my friends with disabilities as sort of a group of people, because we're all integrated. You know, I want everybody that I love to, you know, have the opportunities to, you know, have the best life that we possibly can, whether or not, you know, they have, you know, what society deems a disability. So I get fired up about, you know, all sorts of environmental and political issues, whatever it may be, just as much as I do. I'm not sort of hell bent on you know, the politics of what it's like to have a disability in America. But you know, I just want what's best for my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, he's talking about a lot of our old friends, like people who are still a part of camp. We don't see them so much anymore, but they'll come around every once in a while with like names of people that.
Like John, what is?
Jillian, he's saying, and Paul. Yeah. Yeah, and Jim, and yeah, just like old. Like Jim's your brother.
Yeah. Jim.
And
Yeah,
and Daddy, remember Mac Daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my guys.
Yeah.
There's a boy a show. There's a mom.
Yeah.
With a daddy.
Your mom and dad.
Dinner, guys. Do you guys come out for dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got dinner.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to?
Where?
Let me get off this chair this weekend.
All right. So I'm here with George. Welcome to Model Actress Whatever. Can you tell me about doing this movie with Zeno Mountain Farm?
Well, doing this movie is so good for me because I have lots of experience making movies through yeah, making movies.
How many movies have you made?
I made, well, we made like 9 movies.
So you've made 9 movies.
Yeah,
So basically you've made more movies than most people in SAG.
yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
So how many years, so when did you first come to Zeno?
I first came to Zeno in 2004 for the first time.
And what happened? Were you just so excited the first time, or were you scared, or how, were you nervous, or?
I was scared for the first time, yeah.
And was it a 2-week camp, or was it a 1-week camp, or?
That was for 2 weeks, yeah.
So you're from Vancouver.
Yeah,
You're Canadian.
yeah.
So he's really nice, and it's kind of annoying. Just kidding. What what was your favorite movie you've made so far?
My favorite movie is hmm.
It's a hard question.
Yeah. My favorite one is The Return of the Masquerades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. But I have a question. When did you first know that you were an actor?
Well, that is a tough question because I don't remember when.
Has it always been something you wanted to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's your life like in Vancouver?
Well, my life in Vancouver is like doing sports like golf, like bocce, like softball, and I finally got a paid job right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What are you doing?
I'm cleaning one dancing studio and they pay me really good.
That's exciting. That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then what are you looking forward to?
For this camp, I don't know.
Do you love Zeno?
I love Zeno the Mom, yeah.
Well, it's great talking to you. George, tell everyone on Model Actress Whatever your full name and how to find you.
My name is George Doikov, and
And you're signing off.
yeah, signing off. Yeah, bye.
Hi, I'm here with Miss Katie White in the bathroom at Zeno Mountain Farm Venice Camp. Katie, tell me why you're here and welcome to Model Actress Whatever.
Well, thank you. I am here at Zeno Mountain Farms Actors Camp, filming our newest film, The Life of a $1 Bill. Every spring I come out to Los Angeles, and for 2 weeks I am part of a group of 35 people with and without disabilities that create a short film. And then a year later we premiere it around the country, and those are our main fundraisers. So for 2 weeks in Los Angeles, I am a costumer and an actress, and run lines with people and produce a film, and am part of this giant creative project where we make art, and it's people with and without disabilities. That's what I'm here for.
So where do you live usually?
So I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I come out with a crew of 4 people with disabilities, and we're from all around the Boston area. I'm from Brookline, which is just outside of Boston.
And what's the range of disabilities?
So the friends that I fly with when I come from Boston, we've got a woman with autism who's 50 years old, a fellow with cerebral palsy who's in his mid-30s, a fellow with Down syndrome who's in his late 50s, and another woman with cerebral palsy who is 52.
And all from Boston and fly out. And how long have you been flying out here?
I've been flying out. This is actually my 4th actors camp.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your life like in Boston when you're not at making movies with people?
So my life when I'm not in LA making films with Zeno is a little more similar to this than most people's, because I live with Rebecca Geller, who has been a part of camp for years and has autism, and I am her roommate, and I essentially facilitate her independence as a woman living with autism in Boston. So I'm her full-time roommate, and then I also am the PR coordinator for Zeno Mountain Farm. So when I'm not out here or at one of our camps in Vermont or other parts of the country, I am planning our film premieres around the country.
Sick.
Yeah.
So tell me what it's like to live with how old is Geller?
Rebecca is about to turn 50. She'll be 50 on May 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So just a few short days. She'll be turning the big 50. She's the first person I've ever lived with that has a disability. I don't have any formal training in that, any experience, and really all the reasons that I do live with her really just come from having done camps and being a part of Zeno Mountain Farm. And I think when I initially started the job, I thought that my life would change entirely and I would have a lot of restrictions and lose a great deal of spontaneity because of the amount of structure within her schedule. But we were lucky enough to, rather than completely moving away from my life and what I was used to, we kind of combined our lives. And I incorporated her into my schedule and my social life and atmosphere, and I into hers and her family and her schedule and her routine. So we really are in Boston very much a team. And I make sure to take time off because I do spend a great deal of time with Rebecca, and then we also do a number of camps together. But it is a really great opportunity for people. A lot of people don't know that there's a job like this out there.
What are like the funnest things that you get to do with Rebecca? That, I mean, the first time I met you and you're like, yeah, I live with Rebecca, I'm like, oh my God. But then just knowing you, like just the stories of you taking her to parties and just the interaction between you two is like really just Modern Family. I don't know.
Well, I think what's something really great that we've done, well, recently, about a month or so ago, I've always been a huge fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's been one of my favorite films for years. I love the music. I love everything about it. And I had never been to a live screening. And at the live screenings, you go to the theater at midnight and you watch the show, and there are actors that perform the film and sing the songs in front of a giant movie screen. And you can bring props, and it's incredibly ritualistic, and it's very much part of the whole, cult aspect of this film. And I had listened to a number of songs with Rebecca from the film, so she got really into one called Science Fiction Double Feature and was hellbent on going to see the film with me. So at probably 10:30 at night, we start to get ready and we get into costumes because most people go to see the film in costume. And she's wearing a Bride of Frankenstein dress and has black makeup on her eyebrows and is wearing one of my black hats. And I am in a Day of the Dead black lace dress with a doll lips painted on and a large red Carmen Sandiego hat. And we take a cab downtown and walk into the theater. And, it's a Saturday night in Boston at Boylston Street, which is a main area. And, people are just looking at us like we're out of this world. And there's no context to what we're doing. People don't know that we're going to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Most people in the area don't know what the Rocky Horror Picture Show is. So we eventually migrate into the theater, and people just start going up to Rebecca and saying, "Oh my God, your outfit is amazing. Your costume is incredible." Because she was really resembling one of the lead characters in the film. And then, at these showings, they have a tradition where if you've never seen the film, you're a virgin, and so you need to raise your hand. And they asked, who are our virgins, and Rebecca and I raised our hands, and they said, okay, all the virgins come on stage, and there's probably 20 of us in this audience of 60 on a Saturday night. So we go onto the stage, and we're instructed to give a lap dance to one of the cast members. So myself and Rebecca and several other folks in our group give this lap dance, and Rebecca's is not your typical lap dance. It's not very sexy. It's, she doesn't really necessarily know what a lap dance looks like, but she danced and had fun, and I kind of helped her with that. And then they voted Rebecca's to be the best. And then that moved on to another round. She's voted the best again. And then at the end of that, she is voted to have had the best lap dance and has won now out of 20 people, on a Saturday night in the heart of Boston at a Rocky Horror Picture Show. And now her prize is to be part of the opening sequence of the film. And while this is happening, people are grabbing her and saying, "Your makeup's awesome, this is great." And this is all happening to, a almost 50-year-old woman with autism and, a 26-year-old woman that hangs out with her and makes sure that she has a good time and is safe and happy. And and it's just one of those really wonderful moments that, I really probably wouldn't even know to do or experience if I didn't have camp, and kind of have camp introduce me to the idea of having opportunities to have fun with our friends with disabilities and just taking them.
Yeah.
Going for it.
Yeah. I remember my first camp, I was very it just was really emotional and whatever. And then as time goes on, you're just come on, whatever. Not a big deal.
Well, and camp is really emotional. I mean, it's we wake up early, we go to bed late, we work very hard all day. We physically work hard. If you're paired with someone who, has needs assistance walking or eating or a number of other things, you're moving all day. You're moving for someone else and helping them move, in addition to taking care of yourself and acting as a community. And
making a movie, which you don't even understand, making a movie.
And creating a really good movie.
And high budget movies are super stressful. Low budget movies are super stressful.
Right.
And we're making a low budget movie with people who
have high budget talent.
But it's just multiple takes and but we're making a real movie where
Yeah.
it's lit, DPs, locations, costuming.
Mhm.
Like this isn't
Our
some
standards have become very, very high, and not to say that they weren't always that way, but I think at this point, especially after our last film, Bulletproof, we want to make the best art that we possibly can, and we'll kind of go to whatever lengths to make that happen. And it's just so cool that we can do it as
And,
just
like,
facilitating that with each other.
even as acting, like seeing people, you know, like the, you know, autism, you have all these clicks and whatever, and then like even just, you know, with me or you, like don't you get nervous in front of the camera, or like when someone's giving you direction and you get like frustrated. Like it's really amazing to see how, you know, someone with Down syndrome deals with it, and like how
Right.
positive, or like where their insecurities come from, or where our, like even our insecurities.
Right.
And
Yeah, and it's I've never I've only ever acted in Zeno Mountain Farm films, and I've realized that it's always easier for me to watch our friends with disabilities kind of go up for the take first, because a lot of them have
no fear.
yeah, just kind of go for it all in, and you know, don't overthink like the face, the emotion. I mean, maybe it is like calculated, but I mean, I get my confidence by watching some of my friends with disabilities go up first and just go for it, and then I feel better just doing the same thing. You know, that's where I get a lot of my inspiration. But our films are just so incredibly professional as well. It's like I feel like I would, from working on 4 films, this being my 4th, I think if somebody walked up to me and said, hey, would you like to work on a film at Warner Brothers, I would say sure, and kind of know what I was in for.
Yeah.
You know, there wouldn't be many surprises.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is my first film with Zeno, and I was, you know, it was like a regular day of filming, like multiple takes, close up, like DP, like assistants, like.
Yeah, hurry up and wait, not always the most fun, you know, like a lot of just kind of pulling for each other, and wanting to make this shot be the best shot we can possibly get, no matter what goes into that. And I think that's where we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
We're all willing to do what we need to, and to like pool our creative energies.
I mean, what do you think is, like, once you guys have a collection of films, like what do you think the future of these films might be? Like,
I mean, they you know, will be submitting them to film festivals. I think that Bulletproof and I think that all of our films, you know, could be submitted to short film festivals. And because I really, you know, we hold these premieres in cities throughout the country, in Los Angeles, New York, Boston, DC, and Vermont, and that's great. And we really reach out to like a you know, huge groups of people in all of those cities. But I think more people have to see them. More people have to see these films and be exposed to what we're doing. And the idea that these aren't films about, they're not films about disability. They just happen to have people with disabilities in them. And that's that's the coolest part.
Yeah. And I think it's not like you're randomly getting these different people every time, and you're not knowing the people with disabilities. It's like every camp you get to know each homie so much better, and what their strengths are, and what their their communication and.
Oh yeah, I mean that's you know, we have people at camp that we call lifers, because they do one camp and they'll just keep coming back, and you know, I've created some very strong friendships with people like with and without disabilities equally. Rebecca Geller is one of my best friends as much as Laura Davis is, you know, and Rebecca has autism and Laura Davis does not, and they fall into the same category for me, and I know them both so well because of camp and because I'm coming back and, you know.
So did you go to school, or like what's your background as far as just like
I really don't have a like in regard to working.
not like with regards to any of this, just in general?
I went to school in Montreal for a year and kind of started out there and then took a break from school. And then I eventually moved to Boston, where I worked in hospitality for several years, long enough to realize I didn't want to work in hospitality. And
What is hospitality?
hospitality, you know, like restaurant, hotel industry. I worked in an office that organized for fine dining restaurants in the Boston area, and it was fantastic. And I got to know that industry enough to know I just didn't want it. And then I ended up working with Rebecca, and that job has really allowed me to do camp for one, and then to also do other creative projects. I've been able to work on short films, doing costumes, one short film, working with costumes, which was incredible, and then now work doing PR for Zeno and organizing these film premieres. So I've kind of worked with that, and that's led me to the direction of wanting to work in film and within like the nonprofit organizational world.
So, like, what else? So, what is your, like, what do you see yourself doing in like 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself living in Los Angeles and I think, you know, potentially working in film and the movie industry. I mean, I would love that. That's my dream. I want to be with Zeno as we expand. There's a documentary that's coming out about us in September, and you know, I want to, and Bulletproof is going to be going to film festivals. I want to be there to watch people find Zeno, and for us to kind of to educate and expose people to
The world of
to the community that we are. I mean, yeah, it's, you know, most of the times when you have a nonprofit and you're describing it, you would say, you know, oh, it's a 501c3 nonprofit, you know, and I always say 501c3 organization, nonprofit, and community of friends. You know, it's like it's not just one; it's multiple things. So yeah, I think in 5 years I will have wanted to been a part of Zeno kind of like growing and expanding and being exposed to the rest of the world, and potentially be working in the film industry. And there's a lot of opportunities there, so maybe one of them will be mine.
yours for the taking.
Yes, give it to me.
Thanks, Miss Katie White.
Thank you, CC.
Are you inspired? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to donate to Zeno Mountain Farm org now? Do you feel like you don't have meaning in your life? No, I'm just kidding. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please check out xenomountainfarm.org and watch out for next week's Model Actress Whatever. Bye.
It's just a sugar